Eyewitness investigator David Hammer first broke online. The federal government has ordered New Orleans-based Taylor Energy to take action and stop its oil leak off the Louisiana coast 14 years after the leak started. David explains what suddenly changed and why the oil company is pushing back.
Environmentalists like Jonathan Henderson have been tracking the Taylor Energy oil spill for years.
So every time you come out here, you can see a miles-long rainbow sheen.
Hurricane Ivan in 2004 toppled the New Orleans Oil Company's production platform 12 miles off the tip of Louisiana. Taylor plugged some wells, but determined the others probably weren't leaking, and any more action could cause more harm than good. That was fine with the government for more than a decade, until 2016, when Taylor sued the government to get back $432 million it had put in escrow to stop the leak.
Is it that the government's finally realizing that they now need to assert some control over the industry in the Gulf? I think that might be the case.
And then last month, the Washington Post put a new, larger estimate of the spill's size on its front page. Comedian Hassan Minhaj talked about it on his Netflix show, using our reporting to criticize how long the spill has been allowed to continue.
This oil spill has been going on since 2004. 2004 was so long ago. Let me do the Wayback Math for you. 2004 is when College Dropout came out. George W. Bush was still the worst president in American history, and I was wearing two pop collars unironically.
Amid this flurry of new attention, the Coast Guard issued this order, directing Taylor to build a new containment system, something like the top hat BP tried to use to stop its massive 2010 oil spill, a system that totally failed. Taylor says it can't understand the sudden change. A few years ago, Taylor and the government seemed to agree the leak was minor.
Taylor has been claiming it's maybe a quarter of a barrel per day, but now there's estimates that put it as high as several hundred barrels a day.
So after accepting Taylor's estimates for years, the government is suddenly all in on a spill size that's thousands of times larger. That's about as far apart as two sides can be.